Scone Abbey was a house of Augustinian canons located in Scone, Perthshire, Scotland. Dates given for the establishment of Scone Priory have ranged from 1114 AD to 1122 AD. However, historians have long believed that Scone was before that time the centre of the early medieval Christian cult of the Culdees. Very little is known about the Culdees, but it is thought that a cult may have been worshipping at Scone from as early as 700 AD. Archaeological surveys taken in 2007 suggest that Scone was a site of real significance even prior to 841 AD, when Kenneth MacAlpin brought the Stone of Destiny, Scotland's most prized relic and coronation stone, to Scone. Origins. The priory was established by 6 canons from Scone Priory in West Yorkshire under the leadership of Prior Robert, who was the first prior of Scone. The foundation charter, dated 1120, was once thought to be a fake version of the original, but it is now regarded as a copy made in the late 12th century. Perhaps the copy was needed after a fire which occurred there sometime before 1163 AD and presumably damaged and destroyed the original. Scone Priory suffered a similar destruction of records during the Wars of Scottish Independence. Transition to abbey status. In either 1163 AD or 1164 AD, during the reign of King Maelcolm IV, Scone Priory's status was raised and it became an abbey. Scone Abbey had important royal functions, since it was located next to the coronation site of Scottish kings and housed the Stone of Destiny until its theft by King Edward I of England. Scone Abbey was, according to King Maelcolm IV, in principle sede regni nostri. As such, Scone Abbey was one of the chief residences of the Scottish kings, who were hosted by the abbot during the stay at Scone. Most likely the king stayed in the abbot's own rooms within the abbot's palace. It is very likely that the abbey buildings overlapped with the modern palace. The abbey also had relics of a now obscure saint by the name of St. Fergus, which made it a popular place of pilgrimage. Although the abbey long remained famous for its music since Robert Carver produced some of Europe's best late medieval choral music into the late 16th century, its status declined over time. Scottish Reformation. After the Reformation in 1559, Scottish abbeys disappeared as institutions, although not overnight, as some suggest. The abbey at Scone continued to function well into the 17th century. There are existing documents describing repairs made to the spire of the abbey church dating from 1620 AD. Scone Abbey and its attendant parish ceased to function in 1640 and was reformed in the late 16th century as a secular lordship, first for the Earl of Gowrie, and then for Sir David Murray of Gospety. The property and lordship have been in the possession of the Murrays of Scone ever since. Later, this branch of the Murray clan became the Earls of Mansfield. Scone Abbey flourished for over 400 years. In 1559, during the early days of the Scottish Reformation, the abbey fell victim to a Protestant mob from Dundee who were whipped and were zealous, frenzied by the great reformer John Knox. The abbey was badly damaged despite Knox's attempt to calm the mob as they approached Perth. Despite this setback, Scone Abbey was repaired and continued to function for another 90 years. The abbey estates were later granted to Lord Ruthven, who later became the Earl of Gowrie. Lord Ruthven held extensive estates in Scotland, including Ruthven Castle near Perth, now called Huntingtower Castle, and Elton Castle. The Ruthvens rebuilt the abbot's palace of the old abbey as a grand residence in 1580. In 1600, James VI charged the family with treason after the Gowrie conspiracy, banned the use of the name Ruthven and confiscated their estates. The Gowrie lands at Scone, including the abbot's palace, were granted to Sir David Murray of Gospatree, who later was made the first Lord Scone and Viscount Stormont, as a reward for interceding on the king's behalf to quell the people of Perth in the chaotic aftermath of the Gowrie conspiracy. Rediscovery. The precise location of Scone Abbey had long remained a mystery, but in 2007 archaeologists pinpointed the location using magnetic resonance imaging technology. The find revealed the structure to have been somewhat larger than had been imagined, and revealed that the moot hill had at some point been surrounded by a ditch and palisade, marking it out not as a defensive position but as a hugely significant sanctum within which kings professed the vows to the people of Scotland. A stylized illustration of the abbey on one of its seals suggests that it was a major Romanesque building, with a central tower crowned with a spire. In 2008, an archaeological dig at the abbey revealed burials with 3 complete human skeletons. Burials: Robert II of Scotland, Maud, Countess of Huntingdon, Thomas de Rossi. Bibliography: Barrow, W.S. The Acts of Malcolm IV, King of Scots 1153–1165, together with Scottish royal acts prior to 1153 not included in Sir Archibald Laurie's early Scottish charters, in Regesta Regum Scotorum, Volume 1. Cowan, E.N.B. and Amp. Eason, David E. Medieval Religious Houses, Scotland, with an appendix on the houses in the Isle of Man, 2nd edition, pp. 97–8. Fawcett, Richard. The Buildings of Scone Abbey, in Richard Welander, David J. Breeze and Amp. Thomas Owen Clancy. The Stone of Destiny, Artifact and Icon, Society of Antiquaries of Scotland, Monograph Series No. 22, pp. 169–80. Watt D. E.R. and Amp. Sheed N. F. The Heads of Religious Houses in Scotland from the 12th to the 16th Centuries. The Scottish Records Society. New Series. Volume 24, pp. 198–202. Carrot, Frank Urquhart. Rediscovered. Lost Abbey where Bruce was crowned. The Scotsman. Retrieved 1 September 2009.